How could I have anticipated that pivotal moment would transform the very fabric of my life, forever behold a mundane day it seemed, until I stepped into that room where secrets lingered in the air. As I beheld the door slightly open, a tantalizing thrill coursed through me with fervent urgency. Though I could have turned away, dismissing the sight before me, I chose not to, for in that brief moment, as the reality emerged, I understood that nothing would ever revert to its previous form. Truly, I must admit, the weight of this turmoil lies heavy on my own shoulders, for I was the spark that ignited this chaos, and the one who could not calm its fierce winds. Aidan was without a doubt within the domain of labor. The dwelling rested in serene stillness, yet I caught faint echoes drifting from the upper quarters. Elias discovered himself wrapped in the shadows of his chamber. At first I saw it as nothing more than a momentary flicker, a trivial indulgence of a young soul lost in the boundless depths of his own fantasies. Yet perhaps he might crave a cup of coffee. A soft exchange could reveal hidden delights. As I climbed the stairway, I sought to uncover the origin of the murmurs that danced through the air. As I neared his chamber, I caught sight of the door ajar, barely a whisper of space between its edges. As I inhaled deeply, ready to call him to me, my gaze fell upon Elias. Upon his modest bed, he lingered, a sleek contraption resting on his lap, its glowing face casting an alluring shimmer upon his features, enveloping him in a tender glow. Behold, his hands danced with intensity, and initially I took him for an audience member. Captivated by a riveting drama, perhaps a grand saga of bravery unfolding before him. Yet as I took another step, shifting my angle, I felt the very blood drain from my face. In that fleeting moment, I grasped with piercing insight the intricate web woven by Elias's schemes. My gaze fell upon the image displayed, and a shiver coursed through my very being. Never did I anticipate this encounter, nor did I long to witness it. Elias, in a flurry, rushed to gather himself, hastily turning down the volume on his laptop with a sense of urgency. Yet oh, how swiftly the hour slipped away. The moment has already slipped away. As our eyes locked, his face ignited with a deep flush, the embarrassment in his gaze unmistakable. Alas, I implore your forgiveness, he stammered, averting his eyes. As if caught in a chilling embrace, I felt myself anchored in place. Pray what secrets dost thou long to unveil? The gateway I dared to open yet, I found myself ensnared in confusion, for the phrases I yearned to express slipped through my grasp like shadows. A tantalizing heat coursed through my essence. In reality, a warmth crept across my cheeks, while my thoughts swirled and twirled, as fleeting as the dawn's fog just out of reach. With urgency, I fled the room, my heart pounding wildly within my chest. I pressed my hands against my face, trying to steady my breath. What kind of madness was that? I whispered gently to myself. What act have I just performed? Why have I been so careless? But was I the only one to carry the weight of guilt in this story? Cease thy playful deceptions, sweet Chloe. I chided myself with unwavering determination. Yet the chaos within my heart was ignited by powers far greater than the simple visions that graced my gaze. Elias, in the vibrant flush of his 23rd year, had cast off the remnants of his youth, while I, a woman seasoned by 47 winters, carried the burdens of my own struggles and the lingering shadows of shame that life had woven around me. Truly, I had never encountered such a predicament before. Yet the stings of embarrassment were as vivid as the morning light. There I lingered anchored in the corridor, my heart a storm racing with unbridled passion. With quivering fingers, I wove through my tresses, attempting to collect my fragmented musings. As Elias stepped across the threshold, he subtly adjusted the collar of his shirt, cleared his throat with a soft sound, and turned his gaze away, as if the atmosphere was thick with secrets waiting to be unveiled. Fair Chloe, I implore you. Pardon my misstep. I was under the impression the door was closed, he murmured, his voice trembling yet sincere. I quickly turned my head, diverting my gaze elsewhere. Alas, alas, dear one, it is I who must extend my sincerest contrition. I should have knocked before stepping inside. I murmured quickly, my thoughts wandering, uncertain of what to say next. Listen closely. A silence descends. Yet this silence held a depth unlike any other. Alas, we had lingered in the same dwelling for countless seasons, yet this instant heralded the first time our eyes locked with such fervent intensity. In that initial moment, an undeniable tension lingered between us. In a rush, I must hurry down the stairs to begin the preparation of a meal, I proclaimed, casting my eyes toward the steps beneath me. My voice trembled, but I fought to keep my poise. Elias uttered not a syllable, yet his eyes followed me, as if he yearned to decipher the intricate web of thoughts swirling in his mind. Before the grand encounter between Elias and me unfolds, I beseech you, do not overlook the chance to subscribe to my channel. Kindly activate your notifications and immerse yourself in this narrative until its very last whisper. I promise you everything will become utterly captivating. Until that destined night, not a word was spoken between us. No letters or glances shared, nor even the faintest conversation to unfold. Yet that hush it did murmur, that naught would ever return to its former state. At the banquet we found ourselves at the selfsame table, yet our gazes dared not meet. Lo, the sole sound that did grace our ears was the gentle clinking of silverware upon our plates. We must gather to lift the heavy atmosphere that envelops us. We both sensed it, but how could it be so? The night faded, the next day arrived, and yet another dawn broke. Everything looked as it ought to, yet nothing was as it appeared. Our quietude only deepened the unspoken strain between us, making it increasingly charged. Thus, on a particular afternoon, Elias chose to sit beside me. I caught the uncertainty flickering in his eyes, yet it was clear he longed to bridge the divide. Dearest Chloe, in light of the recent affair, I am utterly mortified. I beg your pardon. Alas, I had not intended for events to transpire in this way. Oh, I implore you, do not allow this affair to tarnish the connection we hold dear. He proclaimed, his voice quivering, yet sincere. I breathed in deeply, as if to capture the very spirit of existence. In this strange and unexpected moment, I find myself compelled to calm his restless heart. With a soft smile and a knowing shrug, I uttered, "Oh, Elias. Indeed, I have faced my own share of deeply embarrassing instances as the years have unfolded. In that moment, I found myself entwined in a series of ephemeral encounters with him. His smile, tender and inviting, eased the flush of his shyness, if only slightly. For a brief heartbeat, it seemed as though the heavy strain that tethered us had been momentarily lifted. Yet deep within my heart, I knew nothing had genuinely happened. Though everything seemed to heal and thrive, this conversation had completely shattered the walls that once separated us, and I felt it acutely. Events were set to unravel with an intensity that would leave one breathless, far exceeding any expectations. Elias let out a soft chuckle, his gaze lowered to the table. "I suppose we find ourselves on equal footing now," he murmured quietly. I furrowed my brow and turned my gaze upon him. "What do you mean?" I asked, as curiosity crept into my voice. In a fleeting moment, his expression shifted, as if the weight of his words pressed heavily upon him, a truth now revealed that could never be taken back. He caressed the nape of his neck, lingering for a brief moment in thought. But he had set forth on his journey now, compelled to forge ahead, with no choice but to tread the course that awaited him. Taking a deep breath, he averted his gaze and softly murmured, "I have seen you, though you remained oblivious." A surge reminiscent of electric energy surged through me. In that brief moment, time froze my breath, trapped as the weight of his words enveloped my spirit. Elias's face flushed with a passionate glow, yet he continued with unwavering determination. Though my lips were bound by the burden of guilt, the memory has remained in the depths of my thoughts, forever etched in my soul. Indeed, it was a cherished secret, a notion that persistently echoed within the recesses of my mind. My heart raced with an undeniable urgency. A tantalizing warmth wrapped around my essence, an unfamiliar sensation that hinted at a change in the air. Elias's words were not just a revelation. They shattered every barrier that separated us. When our eyes locked, I realized he saw me too, and in that instant we understood that our conversation was far beyond the realm of the mundane. The air in the chamber thickened, laden with secrets. Everything had shifted. From that pivotal moment onward, nothing remained the same. There hath ever been a chasm twixt us, an unseen barrier that did keep us from one another. Yet now it seemed as though that boundary had wholly dissolved into naught. Unbeknownst to mine own self, I found mine hours entwined with Elias's presence growing ever more abundant. Trivial exchanges, fleeting encounters that seem insignificant. Yet in reality, each only fueled the fire of tension between us. There we were sharing the experience of watching moving images side by side. In days gone by we kept our distance, yet now an unspoken allure lingers between us, a force felt but never acknowledged. Often as Elias rested his arm on the couch and my hand brushed against his leg, our laughter intertwining, a strange thrill ignited within me. Yet I sought to banish such musings from my mind. On a night fraught with unease, sleep slipped through my fingers. In a fitful state I writhed and turned as phantoms twirled upon the darkened walls. Yet the chaos within my heart would not allow for such tranquility. Perhaps just one solitary thought consumed the breadth of my mind. Elias, this cannot persist any longer. It was essential that I draw a clear boundary. If he held feelings for me, I had to state it openly and put an end to these matters immediately. With these thoughts swirling in my mind, I rose from my slumber. My heart raced with an urgent fervor. Yet my feet, seemingly guided by an invisible hand, carried me to Elias's chamber. His door was slightly open, and a soft glow within delicately illuminated the space. As I stepped in, he was there lost in dreams. Yet, in that moment, my attention was elsewhere, fixated on a matter of profound significance, a tantalizing scheme that unfolded before me. My breath caught, and my body stilled for a brief instant. Gazing upon him ignited a wild storm deep within me. Perhaps it would have been wiser to keep my eyes averted. Alas, I should have turned back immediately. Yet, I did not. In that brief instant, I hesitated, wrestling with the storm of feelings that churned within me. Then I did swiftly withdraw. Within my breast, there stirred a tumultuous desire, yet I was compelled to cast it aside, as though it were but a fleeting shadow. Upon my return to the chamber, I did recline, yet all was altered henceforth. On that fateful eve, I lingered in a haze, oblivious to the intricate tapestry that destiny would spin, complicating every moment beyond my wildest imagination. Regardless of the path I chose, I was helpless against the deepening connection with Elias. As the sun rises and falls, so too do the boundaries between us blur, and the desire that entwines our souls intensifies with each passing heartbeat. Unbeknownst to me, the journey had taken me to unforeseen depths, yet one truth lingered: the option to turn back was slipping away. And so Elias made his way home, cloaked in a haze of intoxication. The noise from that distant entrance, the baubles he had scattered, could have easily stirred Aidan from his deep sleep. Yet I knew all too well the struggle it took for him to break free from the grasp of dreams. Without delay, I hurried from my room and set off to find Elias. Oh, how I stumbled into his presence. Unprepared and disheveled, Elias's eyes roamed, caught in a daydream, while a soft smile played at the corners of his mouth. "Oh, Chloe, are you truly here?" My words tumbled out their meaning, blurred by the intoxicating atmosphere, yet they carried a heavy sincerity. With a breath deep and charged, I grasped his arm with a tender urgency. "Elias, I implore you, you cannot ascend those stairs in such a way. We must move with care, lest our words shatter the stillness that envelops us." Yet Elias's gaze was unwaveringly fixed upon my face. He smiled with a soft charm, his eyes exploring my figure with a delicate intensity. "You are undeniably lovely, a sight of exquisite allure. Have you ever felt this way, or did my eyes deceive me? Indeed, I was momentarily frozen, but quickly regained my composure. "Elias, please stop what you're doing. Go to the kitchen, dear friend. Pray allow me to brew for thee a cup of coffee." With deliberate steps, I led him to the chamber of culinary delights. In my quest to awaken his senses, I became ensnared by the intense gaze of Elias, whose words spun a captivating web, igniting within me a storm of chaotic thoughts. Elias settled into the chair while I hurriedly brewed the coffee. In an instant, the cup slipped from his fingers, spilling its contents across the counter. "Oh, Elias, do be more careful," I murmured, trying to tidy the chaos. Yet he merely smiled, his expression soft and untroubled. Have you ever felt such tenderness within? In swift motion, I arranged the kitchen's domain. We could no longer linger in this space. Aidan rested peacefully above, yet with Elias in such distress, he chose to silence any further noise. Indeed, we climbed the stairs, and I urged him to move quietly, wrapping my arm around his as I guided him to the upper level. Once we reached his room, his steps faltered even further. He desperately needed to change his clothes, but his mind was so clouded that he couldn't manage it alone. At first, I yearned to withdraw, but as I beheld his struggle to remove his clothing, an irresistible urge to assist him took hold. My fingers grazed the buttons of his shirt, and I felt Elias's breath hitch. In that brief moment, the atmosphere crackled with the tension of our hidden desires. The silence only intensified the heat of the moment. Truly, I knew exactly what I was doing, yet strangely, I was engulfed in confusion. Elias looked at me with a changed expression, and indeed this was one of those ephemeral instances, a moment we could never retrieve. Elias, caught in a fleeting uncertainty, lingered as he adorned himself. His hands fell to his sides, and his eyes locked onto mine. In that instant, I felt my breath quicken with an undeniable intensity. In that heavy silence, the air pressed down on the room, making each breath feel like a struggle, as if the very essence around us sought to suffocate the spirit. "I shall no longer engage in this charade, dear Chloe," he declared, his tone soft at first, yet filled with unwavering resolve. My gaze remained locked on him, unyielding and resolute. My heart raced with intensity. Yet what truth did Elias wish to reveal? He asked, his voice dropping to a richer tone. "We intertwined our destinies, but once, and that was the end. You hardly reflect on it at all. Indeed, I sense it weaves through your mind before the tender grasp of sleep." A shiver ran through me, urging me to step back. Yet my feet felt anchored, as if held by an invisible hand. "Elias, we are caught in a most intriguing situation. This feels unjust," I murmured, my voice betraying a hint of uncertainty. Elias offered a fleeting smile, yet it bore no trace of purity. "We have ventured far past the boundaries of understanding what is right. In times gone by, sweet Chloe, abandon thy illusions." He took a step closer, then another, and I could feel the heat of his breath against my skin. His fingers brushed gently over my cheek. Despite my desire to look away, I was captivated, for deep within my heart, I understood the reality of his words. And then Elias's lips brushed against mine. In the stillness, in the tension, the essence of everything was hidden within that brief moment. The thoughts swirling in my mind quickly quieted, and all my doubts slipped away into soft murmurs. Indeed, I could not resist the pull of Elias, nor did I wish to. My hands trembled, yet I remained steadfast. When my eyes met the intense determination in Elias's gaze, I realized there was nothing left to hide in the darkness. With a weighty heart, I inhaled deeply, and with deliberate grace, I let the straps of my garment slip from my shoulders. "You are right, Elias," I whispered softly, my voice a mere breath against the stillness. "Let us end this game at once." With the distance between us now erased, I lay back on the bed, yielding to the allure of gentle slumber. My heart raced within my chest, yet there was no turning back from this moment. Elias, with a deliberate elegance, leaned closer to me. He peered into my eyes for just a brief instant, then offered a smile. "Do not be afraid," he said, his voice a soft caress, reassuring and filled with warmth. "Everything unfolds as it should. I turned away, a shiver running deep within me. Though I couldn't admit it to myself, I knew all too well how long I had waited for this moment. Yet alas, I found myself unable to hold back the words that slipped from my lips. Elias, a shiver grips my heart, for I am ensnared by a haunting fear. My breath faltering, stirred by weighty matters. Elias, I am engulfed in a state of unease, my breath unsteady indeed, due to matters of great significance. Elias, a grin, playing on his lips, brushed aside my words as if they amused him. Perhaps it was the effects of the drink. He leaned in close, his breath warm against my ear, and murmured, "Aiden must not awaken from his slumber." I grasped his purpose, knowing silence was essential. Yet here I am, engulfed in doubt. A fierce storm raged inside me, urging me to suppress a scream that longed to break free. Elias turned his eyes toward me and said, "I know, Chloe. Everything glimmers with intensity, and you are no exception." What truths did he hold? I suspect he had an inkling, and deep within he grasped the essence of my being. In a fleeting lapse of resolve, my eyes were drawn closed, surrendering to the seductive embrace of blissful ignorance. My hands clutched the sheets with fervor, as my body quivered and twisted in a storm of disquiet. With shaking fingers, I stifled my breath, fearing that even a whisper might reveal my hidden self. Elias, lost in a haze of intoxication, remained blissfully ignorant of the chaos swirling around him. Truly, this burden pressed upon my soul. The intensity of the night, woven with the secrets that lingered, ignited an undeniable anticipation for what was yet to come. Elias, intoxicated and fatigued, struggled for air. "Pray, Elias, you are flushed, and we must hurry without delay." Elias responded with a mere "aye." He yielded, yet pressed on along the same winding road, forever moving, forever lost. Behold, a fresh tide of torment engulfed me, and nothing else held weight in that instant. I became an unfamiliar figure in my own reflection. I closed my eyes and whispered, "Whatever you wish, Elias. Whatever your heart craves." Perhaps Elias found pleasure in this, for he cast off all inhibitions. He surrendered everything, and oh, how it became too much to handle. The passion within me surged, overwhelming and intense. In a rush, I placed young Elias upon his bed, tenderly covering him with the sheets. Then I did secure the portal to his chamber. In search of solace, I longed to indulge in a soothing shower, a fleeting escape from the weight of the day, a chance to embrace sweet repose. Indeed, I found myself in a state of utter bewilderment, for the unfolding of events was cloaked in enigma. What unfolded just moments ago lingered in my mind as I stood beneath the flowing water, a flutter of uncertainty gripping my heart. Yet as I stepped out from the shadows, clarity began to wash over me. Oddly enough, I found myself wrapped in a calmness that felt almost surreal. In reality, I felt no anger in my heart, for my body lay as peacefully as my mind drifted. In silence, I dressed, journeyed to my sanctuary, and succumbed to sleep as if nothing had occurred. Yet indeed, the core of the situation resides in this ephemeral excitement, a storm of untamed desire. Yet nothing was ever so simple. And what of this? This situation shall not stay uncomplicated, I fear. Yet this story does not end here. It could not be so. Greater events did unfold with fervor most profound, and in the final hour Aiden would surely uncover all that was shrouded in secrecy. This story has yet to unveil its ultimate chapter. Do make certain to follow and subscribe, for you wouldn't want to miss the tantalizing twists ahead. Activate your notifications and share your musings in a comment if you please. It guides you to a deeper understanding in these narratives. Your presence is everything to me. And if you have traveled this path with me, I offer my sincere thanks for your attentive ear.